Biden commuted the death sentences of 37 death row inmates just 2 days before the families of their victims gather for Christmas. Biden defending his move, explaining, quote, "I condemn these murderers and grieve for the victims of their despicable acts, but guided by my conscience and my experience, I am more convinced than ever that we must stop the use of the death penalty." Joining us now are Heather Turner, Katie Jenkins, and Danny Major, the daughters and husband of Donna Major, who was murdered back in 2017 in a bank robbery by a career criminal whose sentence was just commuted by President Biden. I'm sorry to be talking to all three of you under these circumstances. I cannot even put myself in your position to know how difficult this would be any week, but especially Christmas week. Heather, what was your reaction when you heard the news?
Anger, absolute anger. We were told from our prosecution team on Sunday afternoon. I was actually gathered with my in-laws for our family Christmas. My sister was gathered with her in-laws, and we got the call, and I was angry. I'm still angry. I am upset that this is even happening, that one man can make this decision without even talking to the victims, without any regard for what we've been through, what we're going through. I'm completely hurt, frustrated, and angry.
So, Heather, nobody gave you a heads up that this was coming from the White House?
So in May, we heard that this was a possibility. And at that point, we began writing letters to the pardon attorney. I reached out requesting an in-person meeting in DC, and we were refused. They denied our right to have our voices heard. We're victims. My mother was murdered at the hands of Brandon Hansel. They should have heard our story, and all we got was a 10-minute virtual conference, and clearly that fell on deaf ears. They did not want to hear our story.
Danny, Joe Biden, or whoever made this decision, because it is entirely unclear whether this came from him directly or his people, he's showing mercy to your wife's killer. Was your wife shown any mercy?
She was shown no mercy at all. This man walked into the bank, never said 2 words to her, shot her 3 times in total, went and shot her coworker, Katie Skeen, as well, who was totally defenseless and unaware that anything was happening. It's just beyond me that I can't even believe that this has actually happened, a commuting of sentences like this of 37 victims. All but 3, which was certainly a political scheme that undoubtedly, Joe Biden was also told by the Pope that he should stop these executions. Now, what the Pope has to do with anything in this country, I don't know. But Joe Biden certainly has no convictions. He's a senile old man. He couldn't tie his shoes, I wouldn't think, if you could see him in person. It's absolutely disgusting.
Well, continuing his MO of the past 4 years, he bent to the far left, whether it is this far left Pope, which many Catholics have said about this Pope, or members of his own party. He has bent the knee to the left wing of the Democrats. And that includes squad member Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who said this to the news. Listen.
The death penalty has not been proven to be a deterrent of crime. State-sanctioned murder is not justice. And today, what President Biden did demonstrated moral leadership, compassionate leadership, informed by his own faith. It has had a disparate impact on low-income people, Black people, and other marginalized persons.
Katie, when Ayanna Pressley refers to compassion, what is your response to the Congresswoman?
Compassion? I don't think that that's compassion. The fact that he didn't talk to any of us, the victims of this crime, you know, we trusted the judicial system. We sat through court. I watched my mother be murdered. I've watched images of her body laying on the ground. He does not have compassion for who? A criminal? A criminal? No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
Heather, off the top, you mentioned Christmas celebrations that you've already tried to have. How do you get through Christmas following news like this, when you have to put on a brave face for kids for whom we really do celebrate this holiday, to watch the joy and the magic and the excitement in their eyes. How do you get through this, Heather?
Jesus, the reason for the season. I mean, we wouldn't be celebrating Christmas if it wasn't for Christ and his birth. And he is what has gotten us through this entire thing. We have leaned into Jesus. He has provided a strength and a peace that is beyond all understanding because he's the Son of Peace. And I'm just so thankful for the Lord and for my faith and for my family. I have 3 small children. My sister has 1 baby. He's a year old. My brother has 2 children. My mom had 6 grandchildren, only 3 of which she met.
Oh.
Our job is to make Christmas as special and as magical as we can, and we're going to do that.
Danny, same basic question to you. How do you get through this as a grandpa, knowing that you lost the love of your life? She's never coming back, but this killer has been spared the death penalty.
Well, probably the worst thing for me through this whole thing since day one was watching my 3 children, Doug, Heather, and Katie, suffer through this. If it was just me, I'd be okay with that. I know Donna's with her Savior right now. She's not because she was a good person or anything like that, but because she trusted him as Lord and Savior. As far as the grandchildren go, the few that were here with us, they probably don't have a whole lot of memory of her. But there still is a great loss in that, just knowing that they'll never get to see her or be loved by her or touch her or hug her or hold her.
He does a great job of filling in.
I'm sure he does.
He's incredible.
Katie, final question to you. The exact phrase used by the White House in their release announcing these pardons and commutations is that Joe Biden is committed to a fair and effective justice system. Katie, what about this is fair to your family?
None of it. None of it, because we didn't commit that crime. Reigning counsel did. He made that choice that day, a crime that is punishable by the death penalty. 12 jurors unanimously voted for the death penalty. That is what was fair, and Biden took that away from us. The senile, old, incompetent man took that away from our family. Justice. Just like that, nothing. This is not fair.
Heather, Katie, and Danny, may the Lord show mercy upon your entire family the way the killer in the current White House has not. We wish you the very best.
Merry Christmas.